In this video I'm going to be making a sofa for a cat or a small dog. I had lots of offcuts of 18mm plywood left over from my recent mitre station build, and this would be a great project to make use of those. First I designed what I wanted to make using SketchUp, and here's what I came up with. Plans and cut lists for this build will be available for free to my patrons via Patreon or via my Etsy store for a small fee. Links to both of those pages are below in the description box. I started ripping the panels to approximate size at the table saw. And then I wanted to cut some angles onto some of the edges of the panels to give the sofa its shape. I'm going to be using my panel sled to make the cuts, and I used a digital angle gauge to set the angle of my table saw blade. I could then cut that angle onto one edge, and then measure and mark up the exact length of my panels, and I also mark up the direction of the angle just so that I don't get confused when I cut them. I can then line up the blade with my pencil mark by eye and make the next cut. The smaller panels, which will be the armrests of the sofa, also need this angle along one of their long edges, and I could simply use the table saw fence to make that cut. I cut the smaller panels to length at the mitre saw. To join the panels I'm going to be using the domino mortiser, and here I'm using a combination square to mark up positions so that all of the tenons align correctly. If you don't have a domino, stay tuned as I'll explain another way of joining these angled panels. Next I can tilt the fence to the correct angle, line it up with my pencil marks and cut the mortises. And I had to be careful to set up the domino so that the bit didn't plunge all of the way through the panels and out the other side. I then made marks at the centre of the panels so that I could add a third domino in the middle, and then I could add wood glue and dominoes, and this is where the sofa begins to take shape. Clamping up these joints required a bit of thought and planning, and what I came up with was to cut some of these sacrificial angled blocks at the table saw. This angle is the same 45-degree angle as was used for the arms of the sofa. These are just going to be used for the glue up, and then they'll be thrown away. I could clamp these tightly in place onto the bottom panel, and that creates two parallel surfaces that I can then use to clamp up the glue joint. And you can see here I'm getting a nice bead of glue squeeze out. So as the domino is an expensive machine which a lot of people don't have access to, I thought I'd suggest an alternative way of reinforcing these angled glue joints. So I thought about how I could have done this before I had the domino. I probably would have used a combination of wood glue and hot glue to join the angled cuts together, aligning them and holding them really firmly until the hot glue sets, which happens very quickly, and the wood glue would provide the most strength. If you don't have a hot glue gun, super glue would do the same thing, but you'd need to hold it together for longer or use an activator product. Once that was done, I would have either used screws or dowels through from the underside of the sofa into the arm panels to reinforce the joints. And those screws or dowels would be hidden later by the upholstery anyway. Not that it really matters because it's the bottom panel anyway and no one would see it from above. It was at this point when I realised I'd made my first mistake of the project. Every project has them. When I designed the sofas, I added this angle onto the front of the arm panels, and I meant to cut that angle before assembling the panels, but I forgot. So to get around this, I set up a stop block at the mitre saw to allow me to cut off the angles that I wanted. I wouldn't recommend doing it this way because it's not really a safe cut to make, as A, there wasn't much of the workpiece referencing against the fence of the mitre saw, and B, the offcut is between the spinning blade and the clamp, which is dangerous if anything moves while the cut is being made. I did this very carefully, being mindful of the risk of kickback, and I didn't have any issues, but it would have been much easier to cut the angles onto the arms prior to assembling the panels. Next I wanted to make legs for the sofa, and I happened to have some offcuts from a previous project. These desktop smartphone stand desk tidy things. This is oak and sapele laminated together and cut to an angle, and this is going to make for some great looking legs. I added a piece of masking tape as a reference point for how large I wanted to cut my legs, and made the cuts at the mitre saw. I could then flip the sofa over and mark up where to position the legs, and those are going to get secured using wood glue, and I clamped them in place. And wood glue alone will be plenty strong enough for this. Next I spent some time sanding, and I did this by hand. I wouldn't usually sand across the grain like this, but this is going to get covered with fabric, so it doesn't really matter. I also eased over all of the sharp edges because this is going to be wrapped in fabric later on.
The precision and the accuracy. And it wasn't until Keith basically just said, well, I'm not doing that, it's a ridiculous number, let's do it at 100 mil.
Next I offered up the backrest panel and marked it up for length. I cut it at the miter saw, but then I realised that I'd need to account for the thickness of some foam that's going to get added later, so I decided to trim off about 10mm from the length. You can see here that the backrest is angled backwards because of the angles I cut earlier on. I positioned the back panel where I wanted it using my combination square and then scribed a pencil line either side, and I can then drill some pilot holes in the centre between those lines, holding my drill at roughly the same angle as the backrest. It didn't need to be perfect, but it did need to be close. I also decided to round over the top edges of the backrest, and I did that at the disc sander. Before adding the backrest to the sofa, I'm going to add some of this foam, which is from an old camping floor mat. I found this in my loft when I moved home, and I don't plan on doing any camping in future, so I'll use this on the sofas. I made some knife marks at the angled corners because I want to cut away some of the foam where the backrest will be positioned later on. I could then measure into where the front of the backrest panel would be, mark that up onto the foam and use a straight edge to guide my knife to cut it away. I also marked up a centre line onto the foam and the bed, which will allow me to position it right where I want it after adding the adhesive. The adhesive I'm using here is spray contact adhesive, so I spray it onto the back of the inside faces of the sofa and the back of the foam. I wait for about 30 to 60 seconds for the adhesive to go tacky, and then I can line up those reference marks I made earlier to position it from the centre outwards. And I'm using a couple of dowels to stop the two glued surfaces from touching, as this adhesive bonds instantly when the two glued surfaces touch one another. I can then trim away the excess foam with a sharp knife. I'm just using a butter knife that I've added a razor sharp edge to. Next I offered up the backrest, and I can scribe a line the thickness of the foam so that I know where to position the foam onto the backrest. I applied contact adhesive again, and then I can offer up the foam to that line, and again I trimmed away any excess. I'm going to be using some of this fabric that I got from a charity shop. This used to be a pair of curtains and I think it's pretty nice. I've already used it on previous projects. I'm far from being an expert at upholstery, but I can usually do a reasonably good job. I'm using an air stapler and starting with securing the front edge, working from the centre outwards. I then flipped the bed over and secured the area underneath where the backrest is going to be added later on, so these staples will be hidden by that, and I'm keeping the fabric pulled reasonably taut, and then I can flip it again and secure the underside of the back edge. And then I can work on the side edges, and I just kind of made this up as I went along, to be honest, folding everything over to keep things nice and tidy at the front edges. And then I worked on the back edges, and it didn't really matter to me here if the staples were visible because it's at the back. And then I could work on the backrest, which I wrapped tightly, paying special attention to getting the corners nice and tight, and then securing with staples on the underside of the backrest. Initially, the backrest would get secured in place with some hot glue just to hold it in place temporarily, which would allow me to flip the bed over and then drill out the pilot holes that I started earlier, but this time into the backrest. And then I added some screws to secure it in place nice and firmly. I added my maker's mark to the bottom of the sofa. And I finished the legs with some shellac, which I used mainly just because that's what I had on hand at the time, but it popped the grain really nicely, as you can see. I made 4 of these sofas and it took me about 13 hours or thereabouts to make all of them. And then I just needed to persuade my cat Dylan to pose on one of them so that I could take some photos, and I then listed them on my Etsy store. There's a link to that in the description box below if you're interested in checking them out. This was a really enjoyable project. I love making things for pets, as you may already know, as I've done quite a lot of them on my channel already. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe for more weekly woodworking videos. If you'd like to receive early access to my videos, free plans and cut lists, exclusive content and a name credit at the end of my videos, you can support the channel via Patreon. There's a link to that in the description box below. You can also make a one-time donation via PayPal, and there's a link to that below too. Thank you for watching.